one. Let's do it.
Let's go. Man, how was them ahi tuna steaks, brother? I saw you was throwing down.
Yo, it was the hit of the barbecue, man. I gotta make them for you, bro. It was fire, man. Fire.
Them things was chunky. I'm like, God dang, it's
yeah, man.
Mike went to the he went all out with that one.
Hey, Mike, simple marinade, man. It's a little soy sauce, a little salt and pepper, man. Just let that marinate for about 24 hours. Throw it on the grill, sear it on both ends. You're good to go.
For sure.
All right. Well, hey, man. Don't forget to clock in. If you don't know what that means, just like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get this show started. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
One of them hits now. Heard back from Earth, they just shot a few of my shits down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the penal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history.
I can't explain it.
We back, y'all. What's going on?
Get it.
Hey, man, it's that time, man. It's that time for that collab, man. You already know, man. The familiar faces, man. We got Big Mike Raider. We got the Severe Raider and myself, PharoahNFL. What's going on? Make sure to clock in. Mike, you got to remind me. Let the people know what do they do in your channel, man. Instead of
you got to like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. You got to do it, man. Big Mike Raider in the building. Let's go.
There you go, man. You get it, man. Hey, look. What's going on with everybody, man? How was the weekend? I know we before we started the show, you talking about that you was barbecuing your ass off, man. I seen the pictures, man.
We was cooking, bro. We Yeah, we did our thing, bro. Little celebration. Had some cigars at the end of the night. It was good, man. It was a good weekend.
That's cool.
Man. Yeah, man. I was telling Big Mike, man, he need to do like his slogan says, man, and share with his folks, bro. Share with your folks, bro. Man. You feel me?
Yeah.
I got you, man. Mine was super laid back, man. Super laid back. Just with the fam, doing the whole family thing, man. Taking back, getting ready for this Raider stuff, man. Basically, man.
Sir.
Facts, man. It's always good to get that extra day off. I'm not gonna lie, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We went live, but by the way, we trying to be consistent, man. I feel like we haven't missed a Monday. Me and Severe haven't missed a Monday, so we still made it happen, and we ain't gonna miss this week with Big Mike too as well. And we're still trying to figure out a name, man. Shout out 50-50. We need something for this week. Just a friendly reminder. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, man. What should we call this collab, man? What should we call this show, man? We're trying to figure it out. We got some names, but we want to hear from y'all, man. We want to incorporate everybody else into what we are going to be calling this show because we've been doing this consistently. So let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching the replay. But yeah, man, hey, let's get to it, man. Let's talk about the Raiders. Before we get into OTAs, let's just get some quick hitters out the way, man. Mark Davis is not the father. You know what I mean? I know everybody's been doing that joke over and over again at this point. we kind of touched on this on the show on Monday with Severe, but man, I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard it, I was just like, I wasn't shocked, but I'm like, Mark, I was like, damn, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming, but I'm like, maybe that Las Vegas lifestyle, man, might have.
Yeah, there's a joke in there somewhere, right? We're gonna leave that alone.
Hey, I'm gonna leave it alone. But
there's a joke in there somewhere, bro. But I'm
gonna let it go, man. I'm trying to go to these Raider games peacefully. I ain't trying to get kicked out in the middle of the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Man.
But I think it was. Let me go ahead and share this, man, because everybody was on it. I mean, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but like everybody was on it. New York Times over here. Man, let me change this back real quick. Hold on 1 second. Man.
So behind the scenes right there. There you go.
Behind the scenes, man. Now y'all know. Now if you know, you know now. But let me go ahead and share this, man. As you can see on the screen, Hayden Hopkins reveals truth about pregnancy after Raiders owner Mark Davis rumored to be the father. And I think the article just, they had to make an article, but she basically came out and just denied everything. Hopkins quickly dispelled the rumor. Kleiman, Dove Kleiman, which is I think might be the most hated dude on not Twitter, X, because I'm looking at the address bar. They officially changed it. Like it doesn't say Twitter no more. It's X.com.
Yep,
which if that finger just stays on that X, you know what I mean, you might get in trouble.
Yeah,
but you make sure you just tap it real quick if you in a public place.
Just delete your browser history and search history, man, and you'll be all right.
Hey man, Mike knows the drill, man. Mike knows the drill. Man, look at these
you guys know,
crazy. Man. But reports of Mark Davis being the father of my child are wildly untrue. Hopkins wrote on X, I was pictured sitting next to him at a game in 2022. Have endured false rumors of a romantic relationship since. I was just the guest sitting in the owner's box with our friends. Now I could take this as like, you know what? I ain't trying to put my business out there, but I could believe it, maybe, possibly. Maybe Mark tried, but nothing really materialized. Who knows? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the future Prince of Darkness. I don't know what you would call. I don't know what would you call if Mark Davis had a son or even daughter. You know what I mean? Like, but he's not gonna be a father. I mean, at least to her, at least everything was untrue. But it was a fun couple of days though. It was a fun couple of days. We were just thinking about like all the scenarios and how funny that was gonna be because. I was looking. I was gonna do a joke. I was gonna like actually post something, and I was trying to find a little kid with the Mark
haircut.
Old boy from Mad TV. That's about the closest you can get, bro. The dude. I can't remember.
Look what I can do.
Right. Yeah. That's about as close as you gonna get, man.
Yeah. But
man.
But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I don't know. It's not really too much to say. I mean, like at the end of the day, like it was just fake news. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Congrats for Mark Davis. I think it was a business move, man. I think he was like, hey, we on TV today. We gonna put you in the front to get people talking.
Exactly.
Get some eyes on what's going on up here and. He's a businessman right now. I mean, he's playing the full Vegas businessman right now. So I think that's all it was. But you never know. Mark Davis might have a secret side. He's making money now. So you never know, man.
I was telling Severe the other day. I'm like, bro, like, after Mark, he doesn't have any kids. So like, what would happen to the Raiders at that point? Is there a plan in place? Like. Because technically, Mark doesn't own the Raiders. His wife does.
His
mother. His mom owns. Who's yeah. So and Mark, I guess he's been given the power to run the team. But like,
she's like 90 something, bro.
She don't.
She ain't running anything. She ain't running her legs. It's like,
she's chilling. She's big chilling as she should.
I mean, look, if you're that old, like I'm not gonna lie, like you don't give up. You don't care about nothing. Like you just chilling. You just enjoying life, like as it comes. I mean, I could only imagine, man. Like But I'm just saying, like, I don't think she would be stressing over no team or caring about the Raiders.
No,
I mean, which is totally fine. I mean, I'm not. You're in your 90s, like you've seen a whole lot of the lifetime. Yeah. But that being said, just to move it along, man, Alex Leatherwood signs with the LA Chargers, man. I mean, should I just do it? I mean, I ain't trying to be ruthless, but it is what it is.
I thought you was gonna play a Price is Right music. I got you, bro. I got you. That's a fail, man.
I'm actually not joking, y'all, man. He really did sign. He's the Chargers really signed him. Now, that being said, like I'm not joking. They really signed him, but it's. Alex Leatherwood, it was never a question of talent. It was just more a question of, can he figure out the game and can he clean up his mistakes? But we've been waiting way too long for it. I mean, what are your thoughts, Severe, on the Alex Leatherwood sign with the Chargers? You think it's going to do anything? You think he's going to change somehow, some way? Jim Harbaugh is going to do whatever ritual before the game that he likes to do with quarterbacks. He's gonna give him the confidence.
But get Alex Leatherwood some khakis and like, nah, man. I don't think that's gonna change life for him, man. He likely won't even make the team. As you said before, it was never a question about talent with Leatherwood. It's always a question about desire and want to. Like I looked at it. And like people make a big fuss of these off season or these like postseason awards in college. Leatherwood won the Outland Trophy when he was in college. He won the KC Block Award for the best lineman in SEC, but did none of that mean a dang on thing when he got to the league. He had like one of the highest RAS scores of all time too for offensive lineman. I think it was like a 9.8 out of 10, something wild like that. But if you don't play the game correctly, and if you don't have that desire and that dog in you, man, it's not gonna matter much. So it's gonna be a situation where that's going to bear itself out pretty early on, I'm sure. And Jim Harbaugh he's old school, so he ain't gonna go for none of that. So if he ain't putting forth that necessary effort, he gonna get him up out of there quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's a late off-season signing. I don't think it's gonna be anything big unless he makes a good impression on the new coaching staff, new team, new situation. You never know, but. Man, it's just funny. I mean, I think, Mike, you probably seen the same thing, and I was just dying off this first comment.
Yeah.
Man, the fuck is this? What is this?
That about sums it up, man.
Yeah, basically.
And that's funny coming from Clip Nation 74, man. I mean, even a Clipper fan, when you get heat from a Clipper fan, that's a big problem.
Man,
Clip Nation 74, man. The joke's right itself. Man. But that being said, let's move it along, man. Like I said, it's gonna be quick hits. In this case, Nate Hobbs this week. I mean, we can make this a weekly segment because Maxx Crosby, salute to him. He's giving us, Raiders content. He's talking to the team. He's giving the team a voice. And this week, Nate Hobbs was able to talk to the crew over there at Rush Podcast. Shout out to them. What did y'all think of the podcast? I mean, Mike, did you get a chance to check it out? I mean, I don't know if you
I caught a little bit of it, and what I took from it for the most part was this defense is locked in, bro. Like this whole everybody on that team, everybody that's coming up on this, getting interviewed, even on offense, they just seem locked in already. One thing that I am concerned about a little bit, and we'll get into it like with OTAs and stuff, is that can they keep that energy sustained over the entire season? Because it seems like they're going at it 100 miles per hour. Their demeanor, their energy, the way they speak is real aggressive. It's showing that they're willing to win. They want to go all out and make it happen. I just hope that they're not burning themselves out in this situation. But from what they're saying, even Nate Hobbs, even when the way he's talking, man, and kind of where he came from, kind of, got out of the mud with, from where he is to where he is now, from where he was to where he is now, it's definitely motivating. And we got a lot of guys like that. So, hopefully that translates to wins down the regular season.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I think, and we'll get a chance to probably talk about, and that's pretty much, and we'll talk about the OTAs and stuff like that. I think we'll focus mostly on what the coaches said, but I think that's pretty much what we're getting from the players overall. Like, they're pretty excited. That the number one thing I'm hearing is like the energy in the building, the team being locked in, the players are locked in. So that's good to hear. I mean, but it's OTAs, but it's good to hear that they're, whatever we've seen on that football field to finish out the season and how we felt about AP being the coach and coaching the guys and how they were playing hard for them, it just feels like they're just transferring that to the off season right now. But I mean, Nate Hobbs, we were joking around earlier, man. Like, I mean, he's not like the best dude to interview. I mean, I don't know. He's not the most articulate dude. Because there's moment of times where I'm like, are you high? Like, are you, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he couldn't remember like the names of certain people, like, and it was just, there were certain moments where I was just like, man. And you could tell Max was just laughing at every moment because they were asking him a question. He'd just be like, and just be like, dead air. You know what I mean? Like, it was just moments like that. But it was some good moments. I think one of the moments that I liked, they were talking about like who they would pick up for a basketball game, and they did have a comment about Tyree Wilson's name did come up. Tyrese Wilson's name did come up, and it,
not positively.
Like, they weren't picking up for a basketball game. But
real quick, man, real quick.
Yeah.
Who if you had to compare Tyree Wilson to a basketball player, who would you pick?
I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, because he's super long. I mean, he's he about 6'7", 6'6"?
Yeah, but he's got that wingspan.
The way he moves, he looked like he moved like he's a big man. He wouldn't be a 3. Definitely not a 2, definitely not a 1. He would have to be a 4 or 5. He better be probably 5.
I want to say Zach Randolph, but Zach Randolph had like had good feet. Zach Randolph could kind of move a little bit. Zach Randolph was long. He wasn't super like Zach Randolph couldn't jump over a stack of phone books, but like he was crafty and he had some long arms too.
Oh, you know what? If let me look up Tyree's vert. I gotta confirm this real quick because I know he got long arms.
What you thinking about? Yeah. What you thinking about, Mike?
Man, Kwame Brown, man. That's gonna get me cooked, man. It's just
they about to look.
Yeah, I mean,
look. You about to be called a hater, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, just from what we saw last year, the timidness, the way he's moving, it doesn't. Yeah. And I what it sounds like is that he's like tried to fix that over the offseason. So I'm hoping that I eat crow on this because I've eaten crow a couple times with Tyree Wilson. He's improved. I'll give him that. Yeah. But the get off, the lack of just somebody who's a big dude and doesn't use his physicality the right way reminds me a lot of Kwame Brown initially. Yeah, I'm hoping that that's not the right thing, bro. I'm hoping that he proves me wrong this season.
Nate Hobbs called him stiff. When they were talking about picking him out, just like, I don't know if that's a good. Even though they're talking about basketball, I'm like, damn, like he is coming off a kind of a rough rookie season, and you calling him stiff, and then like people are questioning him on the edge. I was like, and then Maxx Crosby just laughing, like, no, like, nah, we would not pick him. Like he was too clumsy, like too clumsy a guy to like. But basketball and football are two different sports, so it is what it is. I was thinking if he had any type of remember Stromile Swift.
Oh, Stromile Swift was skinny though.
but he's long, right? Long.
Yeah, he's long. He was super long arms.
He was super
Stromile Swift had some bounce though.
Yeah, he has stupid bounce, bro.
Yeah. But that's why I was like, what was Tyree's vert? But we didn't get a chance to see that because he didn't participate in the drills.
He didn't participate because of foot injury.
Yeah, because I'm thinking super long. Because if he would have played in the NBA, any football player that's going to play in the NBA, automatically they're getting leaner. Automatically, they're losing all that weight, all that muscle, like that's going down. Like because to play basketball, you're constantly running back and forth. Like you're gonna have to lose some weight. So that's what I'm saying.
The weight gonna fatigue you. And then I don't know if you ever seen seems like buff dudes trying to play basketball. Like see how that looks. It just don't. It don't look right. It looks strange. Like watch
real mechanical
basketball. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It just it's real strange looking, man. But, man. Like the Nate Hobbs has some.
It's not like smooth or fluid.
It just doesn't look right, bro. You can just like this game's not meant for you. But Nate Hobbs has some cool stuff he talked about, man. Because a consistent theme we always hear about Nate Hobbs is how he's the most athletic guy on the team, or one of the most athletic guys on the team. He was giving big props to Jacoby Myers, man. Just talking about how much of a dog Jacoby is, like just like his all around game, like from blocker, route running. Like he was giving him mad props. So that was very interesting to hear. One thing that came of note, and Trey, he did give props to Trey, just in terms of his speed and like they called him like baby. They're calling him Baby Reek. So. Baby Tyreek,
and you know what I liked about how he described each player is that even though he was giving props to Trey and he went out his way to bring him up, it was measured.
Yeah,
like you feel what I'm saying? Like because when he started talking about Trey, he was like, man, if he figures out how to the angles,
play football, how to play football. Yep. See, that's what I wanted to get to, man. Because this is going people. Because one thing I was saying, and as a matter of fact, I had this conversation. I want to say with you, Pharaoh. I told you that I told you we were talking about Brock Bowers and this Nate Hobbs was like, yo, I love going against these guys that are athletes. They ain't got no wiggle to them at all. They're just athletes. Like I love guarding those guys because you ain't finna out athlete me. Like I'm gonna lock that up. And then he was talking about, and remember, I think we had this conversation. I don't know if we had it on live or not, but I told you, you stick a big corner on Brock Bowers, he gonna struggle. Get somebody that's big with athleticism. They not going for it. Like you ain't about to be you ain't gonna threaten them with that athleticism. Like, bro, I'm running right there with you. You have really no wiggle, no movement skills. So no, until he starts figuring that stuff out, like I said straight up, like a guy like Nate Hobbs is gonna lock Brock Bowers up day one, just because you're not gonna out athlete him, and that's what he was doing a lot of times. You putting these smaller corners on him, try to put a linebacker on him or a safety, like he's out athleting these guys. Get to the league. And you getting guys like Nate Hobbs, like coming. You get a guy like Jesse Bates coming down, defending you. You're not finna out athletes You're not out athleting these people. So it's your game got to go to another level, and that's where that technical aspect of things comes in, where it's like, okay,
yeah. The thing is, my pushback is I don't think he's that bad of a player skill wise. Like you're making it seem like he's like.
He has no wiggle to him.
Like Vernon Davis coming out. Like when Vernon came out, it was a little. You know what I mean?
He has no wiggle to him at all, bro. No wiggle. Like watch him run a route. Watch him try to run like a sophisticated. Watch him try to run like a in, or like he can run like he can run stuff where if he doesn't have to put his foot in the ground or shift his weight, he's good. But make him have to change directions real quick where he has to shift his weight one way then come back the other way. I can send you clips. I've sent you clips before. I can send you clips, bro. He's not good. That's not his game.
But the good thing about Brock right now, like he plays that tight end position. He's not playing that wide receiver position. So anything you get out of Brock out of that tight end position is a plus because he's going against for the most part. If everything works out the way that offense is supposed to work out next year, he's gonna be going against what? Linebackers, safeties,
or nickel corner. That's my point. Like big nickel corners.
And then that means Zamir White better be eating.
Yo, I will say this. With a lot of tight ends, they don't have that separation speed to get open. But what coaches need to do is scheme those guys open. So that's what it's going to be. That's really what I'm waiting for. We could talk all day about whether or not this Brock Bowers has the wiggle or not. It's going to be on the offensive coordinator to get him open. And that's what I'm waiting for. Now, the wiggle, the athleticism, using some extra moves, that's something that he's gonna have to learn. But that initial like, hey, can we get this guy open and break him free when he gets the ball in his hand? That's really what I'm looking at this point of the early stages of his career.
And that's a good thing too.
That's how Georgia used him. Like that's how Georgia. You get the ball in his hands, and he's a freak of nature. You get the ball in his hands, he's a tank with like Corvette speed. Like he's fast. It's hard to tackle. But it's like I said, it's the aspect of scheming him open to get him the ball early. That's why like you heard from OTAs, like they're putting them in H-back, they're handing them the ball. They're, had the tunnel screens. They're doing tight end screens. They're doing all well, I don't know if they're doing tunnel screens and they haven't been that specific. That's all stuff they were doing at Georgia. Tunnel screens, like tight end screens, all that kind of stuff they were doing with them. Because once you get the ball in his hands, like that's when the light bulb clicks on and it's okay. Like, can you tackle me? And nobody in SEC was able to tackle him.
Well, the good thing is that you guys make good points. Good thing is he's a versatile weapon, so they're going to be able to use him in a lot of different ways. But like Big Mike said, it's going to be on Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, to figure that out. But the fact that he can hurt you in a lot of different ways is going to help him early on. Even if, let's say, there's going to be a little learning curve on developing a better skill set, maybe running routes and stuff like that. Which, come on, not everybody's going to be perfect coming into the league. But the fact that he's versatile enough to he could hurt you in a lot of different ways if the offensive coordinator develops a scheme to utilize his skill set, then that's only going to be a good thing. It's going to be a plus. But yeah, man, we have plenty of time to talk about Brock Bowers because I know some people have made some comments. We'll wait till later in the show to address that. But let's get you mentioned OTAs, man. Second week of OTAs that's open to the media. And man, so we heard some good things, some questionable things. We'll be able to talk about them real quick. And let's see if I could pull this up right here. Let's start with this right here. So this is the second. So Wednesday, I think last Tuesday was the first day the media had access to the OTAs. They started last week on Monday. This week, obviously, they had OTAs, I believe, on Tuesday. I don't know if Monday. Yeah. They might have. I don't know if they had OTAs on Monday or they had. Did they have an off day?
They're off Monday. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's 20. They started back up yesterday and then today as well.
Okay.
Or Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay. Well, 12 players, 12 Raiders weren't there to see to practice on voluntary OTAs. Devontae Adams, Jackson's Power Johnson. Maybe they're just trying to play it safe with him because we heard that he was there last Tuesday until he got hurt. Colton Miller, I know a lot of people have been talking about Colton, and obviously he had like shoulder issues last season, but he wasn't there. Michael Gallup, Jalen Guyton, a lot of these guys here, Matthew Butler, Nesta Jade Silvera, Marquand McCall, you know what I mean? A lot of these guys, to be honest with you, you would hope that they should be on they should be on the football field. So if they're not there, it's probably for good reasons or they're possibly hurt. But guys like Devontae Adams and Colton Miller and Jackson Powers Johnson, they don't have to be out there. You would want rookies to be out there, but we all know Jackson Powers Johnson's going to make the team, so he's kind of guaranteed. But what are your thoughts, man? Guys, do you think this is like Mike? Do you think this carries any weight that guys are missing voluntary OTAs like this?
No. But what I will say is the ones that are kind of on that bubble of making the squad, they need to be on the field. But guys like Devontae Adams, Jackson Powers Johnson, Colton Miller, even Michael Gallup, like those guys are still probably behind the scenes, kind of tooling up, learning the offense on the on film or on the board or stuff like that. So, and for precautionary reasons, you're going to keep Jackson Powers Johnson. You're going to keep him, you're going to keep him upright. You're going to keep him fresh. Same with Colton Miller. Same with Devontae Adams. But the Nesta Jades, the Butlers, Darian and Matthew Butler, like those are guys that they need to be on the field. And if barring injury, if they're not injured, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what's going on with that, but if they're not injured, shame on them for not being on the field.
Yeah, it's definitely injury. I would think. I mean, you would think. Yeah. Nesta Jade Silvera, 7th round pick last year. Yeah. Kind of buried on the depth chart this year, especially there are some rumors that he might have been in the doghouse, especially after that McDaniels game with the New York Giants where he was in the locker room.
Running his mouth.
Running his mouth. But ever since that game, he didn't really get any PT. So I don't know if that was the coaches kind of being like, you know what, like that was not the time to do that, and who knows? Who knows what it was? But
right.
But yeah, this is pretty much the players that weren't participating. But shout out to Tashawn Reed. Let me see if I could switch it up real quick. And we see Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. And from what they're talking about in training camp, this is going to be a battle that we're going to be paying attention to all the way to training camp. They pretty much split reps with the first team, which is not surprising. They signed Minshew to a contract. AOC has the blessing from AP because he's earned the right to take the first snap in OTAs, but now they're right into the now they're going to be, and I think that's Anthony Brown
doing
right
a cabbage
there.
patch. They should have cut that fool with me. Like, get your.
Hey man, that'd be hella funny. We found out that Anthony Brown got cut due to the cabbage patch dance.
Word cabbage patch.
But was any surprise though from this, man, to hear that severe, like to hear that they're splitting first team reps in OTAs or?
Nah, man, that's kind of what you'd expect at this point, especially in open competition. I mean, ideally, you wouldn't have to go through this. I mean, even if we had drafted a rookie, it would still be a competition. So it would be, it might be a three-way competition. So right now, having it a two-way competition, both of those guys are getting the most reps they possibly can in a two-way competition. But at this point of the year, you would really want, especially with them installing a new offense, you would hope that you'd have an established QB1, and for that guy to be taking like the predominant amount of reps. But hey, it's competition, so both these guys got to get an equal chance, and we'll kind of see where the chips fall. Gardner Minshew, like I don't know, dude he's like hella small out there, bro.
Yeah, he does.
He looks hella small out there, bro.
Yeah, but according to Sean Reed, man, defense had a great day, or had a good day at least. I mean, Mike, are you concerned that the defense right now is, sound like they're kind of dominating the offense, or is this something that is to be expected?
That's to be expected early on, man. I mean, defense, it's at the basic level. First off, they're in year 3 under a system, so a lot of it is like, kind of they know it like the back of their hand type of deal. Second off, the defense is a little bit more ahead of the curve typically than the offense. The offense is a lot more complex and a lot of things you got to learn over time, and eventually it evens out. So I'm not too concerned about it. Defense, on top of that, we're it's expected we're gonna have one of the top defenses in the NFL this year. So if they're already out there cooking, we already talked about the level of energy that they're bringing to the table. If they're already bringing it, it makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead. Did you hear that audio? I'm not sure if you heard that audio. My bad.
No, I didn't hear.
No. All right. No, I was gonna say another thing too that I agree with you too, because man, it's the Raiders defense 3rd year in the same defense. Like they're gonna be dominating the offense, which is figuring out they're trying to install this new offense. They're trying to figure out their quarterback situation. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things that need to be solidified. Right now, defense should be dominating. If I heard the offense was dominating the defense, I would be way more concerned. I'm like, what? Like, how's that happening? You know what I mean? Because, they just based off experience and the team just being that side of the ball being ahead of the offense, that shouldn't happen. But the coaches and players were able to talk. We're going to focus on mostly the coaches. And Marvin Lewis was able to talk to the media, the assistant coach of the team. And I'm going to go ahead and put this up. And this is what he had to say.
At what point did you realize that AP was coach material?
Well, I don't know that then. I knew he was driven as a player. And I said that to him in, in 2021 at ASU when he became the coordinator and we flipped roles. And I went back off the field and, he came to me during the bye week and he said, "How am I doing?" I said, "Man, you're doing really good. But you also need to take some time for yourself and take a deep breath as well." But he's so driven. And I said, that's how you became such a great player, is you're just so driven. And he also, I think based on how things happened in the fall and so forth, once he took over and reaching out to Coach Coughlin, reaching out to myself and the people that he had come in and be around, and just so he could bounce ideas off of, he's not, stuck on himself that way, He wants to hear other people's point of views and so forth that way, and that's good. But he has a great direction himself, as a leader. He takes responsibility for providing the direction and reinforcing it each and every day.
At what point did you?
Hey, man. That's what I like to hear, man. He said all the right things, man. He might have been gassing up AP. I mean, he's going to always – that's his guy, obviously. But, man, it just shows that AP doesn't have as big an ego. I was kind of concerned this offseason because when AP started referring to himself in third person, I was like, please do not. I don't want to see that, man. I don't see that. But from what it sounds like from the coaching staff that he was able to build out, the people that he brought in the building, and the fact that, pretty much Marvin Lewis is pretty much confirming, is that he's a sponge, man. He's trying to learn. He's not the guy that's going to be like, I got all the answers. I appreciate what Marvin Lewis had to say. But Severe, what were your thoughts on Marvin Lewis?
Yeah, man, Marvin Lewis was man, he had some good stuff to say, man. Not only about AP, but he had talked about not Nate Hobbs, by Jack Jones a little bit, man. It's a little funny. You can tell he loves Jack Jones. He has like a genuine love for him, but he's like one of the situations like, dang, man, with this dude, man, it's just won't quite turn the corner all the way for him, man. Mainly off the field, I feel. And then what he did say though that kind of perked my ears up was when he was talking about Patrick Graham, and it's something I've been saying for about a year now. But Patrick Graham is a head coach in the NFL, and he said he has all the qualities to be a head coach. And this is a guy that was a long tenured head coach. He was defensive coordinator of one of the best defenses of all time with that team in the Ravens. So he can identify coaching talent. And he said this guy has everything you want as a head coach, and he would recommend for a team to hire him as a head coach. So to hear that, I was like, it was like bittersweet, because like I said, I've been saying for a while, Patrick Graham deserves that shot. But at the same time, I do not want to see him leave. So it was a little bit bittersweet, man. But yeah, man, Marvin Lewis he's still a sharp guy, man. Even though he's getting up there, man, still a sharp guy.
Yeah, nah, and just to give some context to the people, like, why is he talking to Jack Jones? But he knows him from his days in Arizona. So he was the head coach, I think, for Arizona, or was he the defensive coordinator?
He was defensive coordinator.
He was the defensive coordinator.
Was the head coach.
And Antonio Pierce is the linebacker coach. And obviously, we all know the connection between Jack Jones and Antonio Pierce. But Mike, what did you get out of the pressure with Marvin Lewis?
A lot of stuff really kind of resonates with me personally, man, because, anything you do, right, as far as whether any endeavor you're doing, right, a lot of people improve the most when they ask questions, from people who know it better than them or somebody who's been around longer. That's what I commend the most about Antonio Pierce, is that throughout his career, he went up to the right people and was like, how am I doing? What do I need to do to improve? Can I get some pointers? He found guys like Marvin Lewis, Tom Coughlin, those kind of guys to really sharpen him up and get him to this point, and not really getting too, like he said, really far into himself, like a previous guy we had a head coach. I feel like at certain points you hit a wall and you need help, you need help to improve, to be a better at whatever you're doing, right? But Antonio Pierce seems like the type that he's going to sit back and be like, all right, well, I don't have all the answers right now. Let me go to my guys. Let me go to the people who've been around and cut their teeth for dozens of years in this league. And what did they do in this situation? That's what I really like about this coaching staff, is that we got an inexperienced guy, a head coach, but he has the most experience around him, probably amongst anybody in the NFL. We just made a point that even Patrick Graham should be a head coach. He even has Patrick Graham that he can kind of go to and be like, all right, what are you looking at? What can we do? Like that kind of ability to have that, and that kind of ability to kind of sit back and be like, all right, what can I do to improve? What can I do to make this team better? Man, that says a lot. And I think because of that, I think he's going to be very successful, man. I'm excited to see what he does for the next couple years.
Yeah, no, facts, 100%. But Marvin Lewis wasn't the only coach that the Raiders had for the presser. They also had QB coach Bo Scangarello. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And let me go ahead and play a little snippet from the presser. Let me go ahead a bit if y'all could.
So do you think, maybe something a little overlooked with Aiden is his arm strength, is his arm talent, maybe a little undervalued in those areas, too much focus on mobility and maybe the things he's not blessed with, and maybe it's overlooked his arm talent?
Yeah, from what I've seen, he's exceptionally accurate. Like, I don't say that lightly. Like, everyone has traits and there are strengths and weaknesses to every quarterback in this league, but he throws the ball where he needs it to go at a very high level. So that's exciting. It's important in this system. And as far as the mobility and who's the guy and all that, that's the beauty of this system. It has flexibility to fit the personnel. That's whether it's your skill players, your line, or more importantly, your quarterback type of play. And so I think that I'm excited about his arm talent. I think he throws the ball very well, and he can push the ball down the field. And, you know, the guys like that have been in this offense, the Kirk Cousins type players and things like that have done exceptionally well. And I think that he has those kinds of traits. So excited to see if we can bring out that version of him.
Coach, do you think?
Man, so Bo supporting his guy AOC, man. So, man, it's you know, it's that part of the offseason. The coaches are all going to say all the right things. They have no choice but to say the positive things. And I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that, but he said some good things. He said some things that they're true. You know what I mean? What we noticed about AOC, super accurate. You know, he has a good enough arm. Obviously, he didn't talk about his mobility or anything like that, but like, I thought it was an interesting comparison to Kirk Cousins. I mean, Mike, do you think that AOC can be a Kirk Cousins type of quarterback where he can be productive in that way, or is that kind of like, you know, because Kirk Cousins, I would say at best is a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. Do you think that AOC has potential to be a top 12 quarterback in the NFL?
I mean, that's his ceiling. Let's be honest. I think at this point, if you're looking for, you know, optimism, I would say AOC, that's his ceiling, is Kirk Cousins. And there's nothing wrong with that. Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback in this league. He's shown that, you know, he can put up the numbers. Now, in major games and big games, yeah, that's a different story, right? Maybe AOC has that, you know, that's where he would break the ceiling, is if he can kind of win those big games in those situations down the line, right? Mm-hmm. But Kirk Cousins started out as a second round pick, third round pick, something like that. He was a
third
or fourth round pick.
Third, I want to say third.
Yeah, he came out that draft that where RG3 was drafted in the first round. Yeah, so
and nobody expected him to be a starter at that time. Mm-hmm. You know, so you know, in hindsight, we could be like, yeah, that's a little far fetched to compare him to Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins wasn't the guy he is now, you know, getting paid 50 mil, 40 mil, whatever the number is. You know, he wasn't that guy coming out, you know, and we may very well look at, you know, Aiden O'Connell after this season and be like, we got ourselves a steal. Now, am I saying that that's what it is right now? Man, he's got a long way to go. But I will say this about Aiden O'Connell. This year, just the little throws that he's been showing that we saw on the film, he looks a little bit more fluid as far as hip movement and stepping back in that you know, that 3-step drop and delivering a shot. It looks a lot more fluid. His body looks more like a professional quarterback now.
Is that number 12?
You know, yeah, maybe it's the number 12 that makes him look a little bit different. It's a different vibe, but to me, there's a change in his body too. And so I got to give him a little bit of props. Like, you were putting in the due diligence, you putting in the work physically. He's been in the building all offseason trying to learn and trying to pose as that QB1. And sometimes, you know, you fake it till you make it, you know, and it might be that type of situation where AOC might just make it, man. I got high hopes for him, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, Severe, like, He didn't just talk about AOC. He also talked about Minshew too as well, and he talked about the other qualities that quarterbacks needs to have. And he made a point where, like, you know, when quarterbacks don't have the biggest arm, the most athletic, they have to have these other qualities. They need to know how to play that quarterback position. They got to be gritty and all that good stuff. Like, that being said, is that enough for Minshew to start over AOC? If AOC is showing if it's close, but, you know, obviously if Minshew he has all those qualities, you think it's enough for him to start for the Raiders?
Yeah, man, I think the leadership qualities are underrated at the quarterback position. You want a guy that can command the huddle, you know, that can keep people in line, that when you know the bullets are flying, you have confidence in that guy just because of the type of energy he exudes in those moments, right? It's not just enough to have talent. I will say one thing about Rich Scangarello is, have you guys ever heard of the phrase like damning with faint praise? It's like you, it's like you're giving, it's almost like a backhanded compliment, almost type of deal. And that's not exactly what he was doing right there, but it's like you notice like the reporter was really like, he really teed it up for him. Like this is like a LeBron D-Wade moment where, he threw up the lob and then Rich Scangarello like Rich Scangarello, he grabbed it and then like came down and like laid it up. Right, he's like, oh man, don't you love like Aiden O'Connell's arm? Doesn't he have all this arm talent? And Rich Scangarello was like, yeah, man, he's really accurate. He's really accurate. Like he was like he was like to really like drive that point home. It's like, man, it's like if you talking to a girl, like, man, I'm talking to this girl, she fine, man, she bad, she all this, and the dude was like, yeah, man, she got a real cool personality, bro. Real cool personality. And he's like, okay, well, dang. So it's one of those situations where it's like, like he talked about his accuracy, but like when you talk about guys with arm talent, you're not talking about accuracy. That's not the first thing that comes to mind. When I say like, who's the guys with the most arm talent in the league? Now, arm talent, I mean, accuracy is part of it, but we talking about guys who can who can make all the throws and do all this stuff. And he didn't say that about Aiden. He said he's really accurate. And so it's one of those situations where it's like, I noticed like the dude, he lobbed it up there for him. And dude didn't hammer that lob home. He was just like, yeah. So yeah, but come on, bro. Come on. You want to play it again? You want to play it again for the people to hear?
The way I took it is he was not gonna say any lies. He didn't say any lies.
Exactly my point. But that's my point. Like I'm saying, it wasn't like he was like trying to down Aiden, but I think like you can tell like Aiden's arm is not like, some people want him to have like this crazy arm, and it's just not there. And if so that's where he's gonna really separate himself from Gardner Minshew, right? Because he's a bigger guy, he's a taller guy. You would think that like he would have like just naturally just have a stronger arm. But if the arm talent there is negligible and Gardner Minshew is ahead of him in all these other areas, then Aiden O'Connell, he has like the accuracy thing is going to play a huge role in that, because he has to prove that, hey, you know what, I can be consistently accurate enough for me to hold Gardner Minshew off, because Gardner Minshew, like, he seems as a guy that's more comfortable being a leader. He has the grit, he has the moxie, he has the personality and the charisma, which are all things that, like Aiden like lacks. And part of that is being a younger quarterback in the league, but part of that is some people just have it and some people don't. So I think that accuracy piece is going to play a big part of it. But if it's arm strength and ability to make those throws, if it's negligible, then that's what opens the door for a guy like Gardner Minshew to walk through and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna take this bull by the horns and be the leader of the team.
Tomato.
You know what, man? Like, I feel where you're coming from. Like, I know what you're talking about as far as like, okay, yeah, he could have slam dunked that response and he gave a layup. I get that, but a lot of these coaches are so even keeled, they're not going to give you too much as far as how they feel about a certain player. Now, we can flip that on the other side and be like, there's guys like John Gruden that gassed up Nathan Peterman for 3 years and was like, hey, man, Nathan Peterman, man, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, man. He did that on the flip side too, and it didn't really amount to anything. So the tone sometimes doesn't really mean anything. And I think he does like Aiden O'Connell. I think he does. But you do make a good point. It's just a matter of what kind of personality this this coach is, and if you don't really know that fully, we can't really make that conclusion.
And it's a QB competition right now, so the coaches want these guys to fight it out, and they're gonna say the obvious things, but they're not gonna say anything that would give the other player an edge, or they just want the play. I'm looking at it from that perspective. I didn't take it as like, oh well, he should have slam dunked. I mean, we kind of know that Aiden O'Connell doesn't have like the strongest arm. You know what I mean?
We know that. No, listen to Raiders fans talk about Aiden O'Connell, and they're talking about like, oh, he's Jared Goff, and he's like his arm talent is not on that level. And when you have the limitations he has, you want, like, that's why I compared him to Chad Pennington. So Chad Pennington was a very serviceable, good quarterback. Like not mobile, super accurate, super high IQ, kind of a low key guy as well.
Chad Pennington had no arm. He had no arm.
He had a noodle for an arm, bro. That's little.
You know
bro,
what?
That's
it was
bad.
Especially after the injury though too. After the injury, he wasn't never.
I'm talking about Chad Pennington went like early on with the Jets. When he had that, I think he had that team really good. I think we beat him. Did we beat him in the playoffs that one year? I think we beat him in the playoffs that 1 year.
Wild card round,
but like he was good. I mean, he had that team. He was playing well for that team, and that's kind of
Wayne Corbett.
Wayne Corbett, yeah, man, Wayne Corbett, yeah. So
did Santana Moss play for the Jets?
Yep.
One of them, Santana Moss, I think played for the Jets.
Santana Moss, yeah.
Yep.
And they had that other guy. It was another light skinned receiver. I want to say they had. Dang, what's my man's name? So somebody gonna put it in the chat. He was light skinned. Was he? I can't think of his name. Dang, I can't think of his name.
I think you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Somebody gonna throw it in the chat. But like, yeah. So it's like, like he was limited physically, but he was just so accurate and so like procedurally he was great. Like all this stuff, made the right reads, and he did all the quarterbacking stuff right. And I think that's where Aiden O'Connell has gonna have to lean into that kind of stuff, because he's obviously a very bright guy. Obviously has an understanding of how to play the position, because he threw hella passes when he was at Purdue. So all those things he's gonna really have to lean into, because the intangible stuff, like the leadership and the charisma, he's not quite there yet. And mobility, even though like some of mobility is like speed, but some of mobility is just having a knack for it. Like Gardner Minshew is not the fastest guy, but he just has a knack for being able to, like, I know how to move and slide and all this stuff. Like Pat Mahomes isn't the fastest guy, but he just has you just have an understanding of how to do that aspect of the game. Some people are good at it, some people aren't. Like obviously Aiden O'Connell isn't good at it, and Gardner Minshew, he's proven in the past that he's adept at it. So like I said, it's those other things where Aiden O'Connell is going to have to separate himself. So and that's what this competition. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes that stuff helps a guy more in a competition like this, because that stuff, like the procedural stuff and the accuracy, that stuff shines through. Like sometimes a guy that's like, hey, I'm moxie, I'm gritty, you can't really see that until like the bullets are actually flying in a regular season game. Yeah. So that could be part of the reason why, Gardner Minshew keeps getting overlooked in all these spots, because his skill set, his strengths, like that's not going to show up in the training camp or in the OTA. That's going to show up in actual games. Yeah. And so I think that's part of the reason why Aiden O'Connell, that could help give him an edge and help win him the starting quarterback job,
at least early on. But just to piggyback off what Mike said and Severe, Severe's looking for a slam dunk. Mike is saying that some of these, a lot of coaches want to be even keeled. So let's move on to the tight end coach, Luke Steckel. He has some good things to say. And he was asked a lot of questions, but Michael Mayer's name came up, and I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip real quick.
We talked to Michael Mayer last week, and he told us how excited and fired up he was to be here and be part of this. What have you seen from him in particular that gets you excited about what he could bring to this table?
Oh, man. I mean, how much time you got? Mike Mayer has been outstanding. Like, I cannot say enough good things about Mike Mayer. His professional approach for a guy that's only in his second year, he's got me and everyone else fooled. I mean, the leadership he's shown in the room, the energy he brings every day. He's an incredible teammate. He's encouraging his fellow teammates, his fellow tight ends, the entire offense. I mean, I can't say enough good things. He's been absolutely outstanding. I had really high expectations because of his reputation as a player and as a person before I got here, and he's exceeded all of those. I mean, if there's a fan club, I'm the president of the Mike Mayer fan club. He's been outstanding. It's been a real pleasure being able to coach him because he's eager to learn. Mike's been outstanding. I'm happy to hear that he finds it simpler, and I don't know what previous offenses he's been in were like, but it's our job as coaches to make the complicated simple. So if it's feeling simple to him, hopefully that means us as a coaching staff are doing something right, but we're going to continue to build. Our install calls are in the infancy stage right now. We're going to keep building on those, and there's a lot more of the playbook coming his way and coming all of our ways. But we got to get him processing all our guys. As faster they can process, the faster they can play. And I've already seen some of those steps being taken. So excited about the progress Mike's made and the entire tight end room.
We talked to
man. Complete opposite of what Bo Scangarello did. But to be fair though, Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers' situation is completely different. Like these are guys that are going to be highly featured in the offense, like for hopefully for years to come. I mean, you could see it if it works out well. Like if we see Michael Mayer be productive, we see Brock Bowers be productive. These are guys under rookie contract, and then a lot of the other guys, their contracts are going to be, you know what I mean, either trade bait or, they're going to be gone. I don't want to say no names, Adams. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say any names, but yeah, no.
Pitchforks coming out for you right now, bro. The pitchforks is coming out.
Hey man, until I see the Raiders figure out that $50 million a year contract, I don't know what, because he's going. If the Raiders, I believe, if they cut him or no, if they don't restructure, I think he's going to be on the cap for like at least 40 to 50 million a year. If Devontae, I don't know what type of year Devontae has to have next year to make sense of that type of cap hit. Who knows? That definitely got to be restructured. But to get back on to what Luke said, man, Mike, like how did you take? Because I know earlier you said coaches need to be even keeled, but man, Luke came out like, man, full support of his guy Michael Mayer for president. That was his whole stand.
Yeah. That was very John Gruden-ish right there. Like it was pretty close to Gruden right there. I like to hear it, man. I mean, like some coaches are going to be even keeled. Some aren't going to ever praise you ever, right? And then there's coaches like him that are, they're going to go out there and just go full on and, full on endorse you for president. And I'm okay with that. I would just like for it to be a secret still, because everybody's got their eyes on Brock Bowers. Nobody's talking about Michael Mayer. And I want it to continue to be that way, because I want Michael Mayer to really go out there and surprise and shock the world, basically. Because everybody's talking about Bowers and what he's going to do, but nobody's talking about how great of a prospect Michael Mayer was last year when we picked him up. I see him having a bigger season than Brock Bowers, and he has the ability to do so. He's actually more well-rounded than a Brock Bowers. He plays the tight end position to the full ability. He was put feet to fire where he was run blocking and getting torched by Maxx Crosby. He learned that. He took his lumps. This year he's building on that, and you even seen in the press conferences where he has the swagger. His confidence is up. I want to see that translate to the field, but I don't want people to talk about it at the same time, because once we put on them pads, once week one hits, I want him to have a 100-yard game, and I want people to be like, we didn't see it coming. And for coach to be like, Michael Mayer for president, I'm like, dude, let's keep it down just a little bit, because people aren't talking about my man right now. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, man. But you know what? It just adds more to what I'm thinking once I heard Michael Mayer talk. Obviously, we know Michael Mayer is going to his second year. But, Michael Mayer seems like he might be the guy he might be the tight end that's going to have a big year this year. Like, everybody's talking about Brock Bowers, which I think, he's going to be featured. He's going to play well. There's, if Luke Getsy can figure out a way to figure out an offense that fits the skill set of the players, then you could expect certain players to add some production. But if you look at Michael Mayer, you made a good point. Like, the fact that he can block and he can obviously get open, be a factor in the receiving game, that puts him in a lot of different formations, a lot of different ways where you can use him in different way, especially if you want to run the ball in different formations. You're probably most likely going to put Michael Mayer out there more than a Brock Bowers, who, to be fair, like, he probably needs to develop in that department. But Severe, man, like, what are your takes on this? Because like I said to Big Mike, man, like, earlier you was looking for a slam dunk, but now Luke Steckel over here is coming here with a windmill. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that highlight where Gerald Green when he was playing for the Nets, he caught an alley-oop and he just was looking down at the rim and windmilled it.
Head above the rim, man. He Luke Steckel threw it off the backboard and caught that thing and windmilled it, bro. He was playing no games, and that's the, like I said. I mean, maybe that's not in Rich Scangarello's personality. John Gruden he's a consummate salesman. He works in TV. He worked in advertisement. He is a shameless self promoter at times, and so that's what he was good at. He was good at talking, and maybe Rich Scangarello was a little bit more low key, and maybe Luke Steckel was a little bit more of that kind of guy where he has a lot to say. So that could be that situation, man. But I just think that you marry what Luke Steckel was saying there with the reports we've been hearing out of OTAs about how Michael Mayer has been playing well, then it kind of makes sense. You don't want to put too much weight into what guys are doing in OTAs. And I've made the point before about Quentin Moses, how we third round pick, we drafted him. They said nobody can block him. He got the training camp, but then he didn't make the team. So you don't want to put too much weight on that. But the fact that we've already been hearing Michael Mayer's doing his thing. We've seen the kind of confidence that Michael Mayer has, just him speaking. We saw the pedigree he had as a prospect coming out of Notre Dame. We knew the kind of guy he was. You put all that stuff together, and then it adds up. It aligns with what the coach is saying. Another interesting thing is that he was talking about he's old school, and that for tight ends to kind of get on the field and catch the ball, they got to block first. Yeah. And that's where I feel that Michael Mayer is going to be ahead of Brock Bowers. Not to say Brock Bowers, he's not a horrible blocker. He's very willing. Very, very willing blocker. He's a very willing blocker, but it's not always the greatest of technique. And I think that Michael Mayer, he spent a large portion of last year, what he was as well coming out of Notre Dame. He's a very willing blocker. But I think last year they really honed in on the technique aspect of it, the understanding of how to block. And I think that people don't always give that part of it enough credit or enough credence. Like there's an art form to blocking, to understanding angles, and to understand what a defender, how they're trying to beat you. And especially when you're a guy that's mainly a pass catcher, that doesn't always click immediately for you. So I think that we've been kind of speculating that Brock Bowers might have a bigger impact, and I mean that Michael Mayer might have a bigger impact earlier on than Brock Bowers. And if Luke Steckel holds true to what he says in terms of if you want to catch the ball, you got to block first, I think what we've been kind of speculating may end up coming to fruition. I'm sure they're still going to find ways to use Brock Bowers. Like, you don't spend 13th overall pick on a tight end like that and not use them. But I think that like I said, if what he says is true, we're going to hold him to his word. I think Michael Mayer may be the best kept secret in NFL.
Yeah.
Until today, when the coach told everybody about him. Now everybody's it's Michael Mayer, you say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You could tell, like, he even said, like, everything that he thought before he met Michael Mayer, before he got here to meet he's exceeded that. So which tells me, like, I think he might have been one of the guys surprised that they drafted Brock Bowers at their number 13. Yeah. Because he was like, we got a Michael Mayer. I gotta break it down and let these people know that this is the guy, man. Like, he is the guy. But they're gonna find ways to include both Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer on the field, whether it's 2 tight ends, 12 personnel, or like we mentioned, like you mentioned this too with Severe. You called him a big slot. So it might be a situation where you got 2 wide, you got him in the slot, and you got a Michael Mayer playing that classic tight end position. So that's all on Getsy to figure out, man. That's what I'm saying. Getsy's the biggest question mark. Yeah. Getsy's going to be the biggest, because he's going to have to be the guy that's going to have to figure this out. We kind of know what we have at quarterback. We kind of know what it is, and then obviously we know the talent that is on the offense. It's just Getsy got to be able to figure it out, man. He got to figure out how to utilize the skill set. And he even admitted, he talked about, like, how I think last week he kind of mentioned how he had to sit back and learn from from his previous coaching stop and how, he needed to do a better job in like, taking advantage of certain players' skill sets. So that's good to hear, but we got to see it on Sundays, man. But that being said, let's move it along, man. It's that time, man. That wraps up the second week of OTAs. I think they got something next week. It might is it going to be the mandatory? I know I think there's going to be a mandatory OTAs in June, I believe. I don't know if it's next week.
They're back. I want to say they're back the 3rd through the 6th, I believe. I believe that's when they return. I want to say the 3rd through the 6th, and then I don't remember when they return after that. But I know I want to say that the 3rd through the 6th. So we got the June 1st cuts coming up. Then they reconvene on the 3rd. I want to say.
Yeah, I think so. So I think next week is going to be the last week of OTAs, voluntary OTAs, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
And then after that, at some point, they're going to have a mandatory one. So hopefully, that's kind of how we can gauge, like, all right, who's hurt, who's healthy, what's going on, is it a contract dispute? That's when all that stuff comes out. But June 1st is around the corner, so we'll probably talk about when the future show. We'll probably get into like what the Raiders can do, especially with all that money coming up, that $24 million. But yeah, that being said, let's move it along, man. It's our favorite time of the show, man. It's comments of the week. And it's back, man. It's back, and we here to get into it, man. And, people left some comments, and we need y'all to continue to leave comments. Don't worry. We are not going to hurt you. We're not going to embarrass you. We're going to keep it respectful. Feel like y'all like to leave comments on videos or lives when we're not really doing this. But then now that we got the comments of the week, I see y'all don't want to leave. I see that some people don't want to leave comments now. Some people don't want to leave comments now. You know what? It says a lot about y'all, man. I don't know, man. Y'all, come on, y'all Raider fans, man. Y'all can't be scared, man. Come on now. But let's get into it, man. Let's start with the first comment here, because we had some people who commented, man. Shout out to them, and shout out to everybody, man. Make sure to hit that like button. Clock in, hit that like button, and light the thumbs.
And hit the sub, baby.
Hit the sub, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure to share this video if you can. This is going to be available on all our channels, so you want to make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification on all the channels. Just had to give you all that friendly reminder. But let's get started here. The first comment here, we'll go to Big Mike. And let me move this out the way. But Safe B. Layer says Brock Bowers unanimously is considered to be an outstanding talent with a high floor and high ceiling. Maybe Fuaga will be near as good as an O tackle. Maybe. The cornerbacks all had significantly flaws in their games without the comparatively high floor and ceiling. So he's talking about Brock Bowers. He's kind of like, hey, it makes sense to pick him other than the other players. But Mike, what are your thoughts on this, man?
So there's already talks. I mean, there was talks before this that Fuaga is going to be down the line considered a guard. Now, does that take away some of his stock now? It's hard to say right now because we still got a training camp and things down the line. But according to what these experts say, Brock Bowers is the sure shot guy. He was the best player available. And, by the way, the Raiders, this is not the first year that we've picked best player available. Arguably, last year we did the same thing as well with Tyree Wilson. Now, you can argue and say that Jalen Carter was also was probably the best player available at that time, but he had some baggage with him. So if you take that into consideration, Tyree Wilson was for sure that best player available at that, for considering circumstances, right? There was guys that had him ranked as high as second on their draft board. So this is the second year in a row that we've went BPA per se. Now, as far as the cornerbacks go, there were some flaws, but every cornerback in this league, every cornerback for the last few years, you can point at some sort of flaw. There is no such thing as a shutdown corner anymore in this league. It's just not the type of the way they favor the offense as far as refs and the rules that are placed for offenses. There's no there you can have a dominant game still as a corner, but there's no shutdown guy that's like across the board. He has no flaws. Every single prospect in this draft, including corners, have flaws. And that's including Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has flaws as well. So I agree with what you're saying to an extent about Brock Bowers. He, outstanding talent, high floor, high ceiling. But to me, I think that, initially when I saw it, I thought that Fuaga, we should have picked him at number 13. But there are people that are saying that, he's going to be a guard at some point. So if you take that into consideration, if that's something that you put any kind of high value into, then I think that maybe that Brock Bowers was the better move. But it's all up to you. But Safe Be Layered, thanks for the comment. You're the number one dude that's always commenting every week, and I appreciate it, man.
Shout out to Safe Be Layered. All right, let's move it along, man. We got Resplendent Raider here, man, with a comment right here for my guy Severe. He says, I think the thing with the draft is you want talent at whatever position. If it just so happened to be a position of need as well, then you just struck gold per se. If you know you need a corner and it's a good one, they're at your spot, but it's another player better, but at a different position, do you take that player or the corner? It's different ways to build rosters, in my opinion. Now, with all that being said, bust prospects does happen, and you want to minimize that as much as possible. Obviously, probably the two biggest busts in our franchise history was Robert High Stakes Gallery and Jamarcus Can't Get Right Russell. So this is for Severe, man. What are your thoughts, man?
That may be true, and maybe if you're locked in a position, maybe people don't realize this because we haven't had GMs that do it often, but you are allowed to trade. Like, that's the thing that other teams do. And we had trade offers on the board that would have netted us extra capital, put us in a position to draft. One would have put us in a position to draft any defensive player we wanted in the draft if we would have traded back to 15. And then the other one, I believe it was to 19, would have still put us in a position to draft any cornerback that we wanted in this draft. So not only are we getting, whatever cornerback we want in this draft, but we trade back to 19, we're probably picking up an extra third or extra fourth, give us another bite at the apple. Some of the big, and I keep going back to this point because people keep talking about, best player available, position in need, safe pick. Like, generally these high picks, like, you're drafting guys high because they're considered like a safe pick, right? I think about Aaron Curry drafted to Seattle, the linebacker. He was considered the safest pick in that draft at linebacker, right? And then 2 years later, he's replaced by KJ Wright. And then, 4 years later, I want to say he plays for us. 5 or 6 years later, he's out of the league. So there's really every player has the potential to bust. Generally what you want to do is you want to identify players that fit your system that are positions of need. And if you can target those guys, and that's awesome, especially if you have the ability to trade back. If you have a high rated prospect on the board, not at a position of need, what smart GMs do is, let me identify a team within the range where we can move back, pick up this extra capital, and then get the kind of player that we want and the kind of player that we need. Brock Bowers was this great prospect, right? There were there were teams ahead of us that needed quote unquote weapons, right? And what did they do? They passed on Brock Bowers for what? Positions of need, right? And these are so it's not like if Brock Bowers was this can't miss prospect, why didn't they take him? They need weapons. Why didn't the Bears had an opportunity to take him at 9? They need weapons, right? You could argue that Tennessee Titans, they have a young quarterback. They can use some extra weapons as well, even though I think they just picked up Ridley, but they can still use some weapons, right? like shit. I mean, no shit, but there are other teams that need the weapons. But for some reason, this guy kept falling down the draft boards. If he's this best prospect, then why do people keep passing on him? So there is more than one way to skin a cat. I agree, but generally, what you want to do is you identify what you need. If a high prospect falls to you that you don't need, you move back, get extra draft capital to either ammunition for trades or to give you extra bites at the apple to fill other holes on your team.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the comment, Resplendent Raider. And I feel like everybody's talking about Brock Bowers right now. So someone left a comment here for me as well. The Raider 1254, man, appreciate you, my guy, for leaving a comment. He says, so this is him just arguing for, another guy that's supporting the Brock Bowers pick. I understand. I get it. When you got an offense that struggled to score points all year and you then add a Swiss Army knife of Bowers' caliber, it's a win. We missed on a QB, which made adding a scoring machine to make up for our QB struggles a must need. I'd argue even more than cornerback or right tackle. We don't need AOC to be great. We just need him to be decent. I think he can. Bowers opens up the offense, which is absolutely a need. I get it. I get it, and I think that's the Raiders' plan is to basically have an offense because it was an easy move to make because then now in their mind is like, all right, we can't get the guy that we want at quarterback, which, you can argue, did they really want to trade up? You know what I mean? I heard Telesco talk, but then when you look at Telesco's history, he's never really traded up for a guy. Even Herbert was a guy that fell on it, fell on his lap. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, if it was Tua would have probably been the guy that he would have drafted there. But that being said, I agree. I think that's the Raiders' plan is to have an offense around quarterbacks that you might not think are as talented as the other quarterbacks in the NFL, but we've seen it work though. We've seen it work, and that's the hope. That's pretty much the Raiders' hope is for them to win games based off their defense, running the ball, and the fact that they have all these weapons on offense carrying the quarterback, so to speak. Like they're going to be. It's not like I don't think the Raiders are looking for AOC to carry the team. They're not going to be looking for Minshew to carry the team. They're going to be looking at him to manage the game, don't turn the ball over, and get the playmakers the ball. That's it. Keep it simple. Let them be the stars, and hopefully, you know what I mean, you don't turn the ball over, and it equals to winning football. So I agree with you. Now, that being said, I did say this last week, and I keep saying this, and it's probably the last time I'm going to say this, man. Look. If Bowers doesn't turn out to be, in my opinion, if he doesn't turn out to be an elite player at that tight end position, we're going to be looking back at this draft, and I don't think it's going to be enough to justify the pick if he's just a good player. And the only way you can justify it is everybody else is a bust, and then Bowers just was a good player. Then I'm gonna be like, oh damn, like everybody else is a bust. But I think there's going to be some players that were picked after Bowers that were pretty good at positions of need that the Raiders needed. High value positions like corner, like offensive line. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm hoping that Bowers is going to turn out to be a great player. And I think that's what a lot of people are leaving comments about. They're talking about Brock Bowers. They're trying to defend the pick. I get it. You know what I mean? I hope he's a great player. And I get the Raiders' plan. It's kind of obvious. Like, all right, I see what they're doing. They're trying to throw as many. Look. Last year, they had Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer. Even though he was a rookie, didn't get out opportunities, he still was a weapon. And then they obviously had Josh Jacobs at the time. Now they have Zamir White. And now you throw in another guy and Brock Bowers. And you heard Nate Hobbs kind of mention Trey Tucker today. So, that's another shout-out from a teammate, which he didn't have to do. He was talking about Devontae Adams. He wasn't asked to bring him up. He was like, man, hey, this guy Trey Tucker, because he has to practice against these guys. So he's like, man, this guy has it. So that's another weapon. So I'm hoping that, at the end of the day, guys like Minshew and AOC can capitalize, and that's the plan. But I think we're kind of honest. I feel like we're hella honest. You know what I mean? I think what I need to do, and this is gonna be crazy. I don't care, but I need to put something on the screen, something where it's like Homer Simpson, and it's like a little barometer, and every time someone says like a Homer comment, like a Homer comment, I'm gonna have to, fill up the barometer, and it's going because sometimes, man, I'm a Raider fan, but at the same time, I like to keep it real. Like if I see a spade, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. At the end of the day, like I'm not gonna say something is good or something's bad. I'm gonna give you my straight opinion. I understand Raider fans. This is the time of the year that we're gonna be super positive, but hey, man, we're here to talk, man. We're here to have that conversation. So I appreciate the comment. The Raider 1254, I'm not disagreeing with you. I hope it all works out. But I believe you made this comment because we were talking about Bowers. I should speak for myself. I was talking about Bowers and how he can possibly, if he doesn't turn out to be as great as a player as we think he can become, then I'm not sure if it would justify the pick. That's just my opinion. But a lot of things can happen. If everybody else in the draft is trash, then Bowers becomes a good player. Then I'm gonna be moonwalking like Michael Jackson. I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? I'm glad even though I said that he was supposed to be a great player in order to justify the pick, then all right, Bowers is gonna be the guy no matter what. But look, I hope it works out. Like I said, I appreciate the comments. That wraps up comments of the week, man. I appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we head out, any last comments, any last things you guys want to say? Mike, let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to and what's coming out.
Big Mike Raider across the board, man. Whether it's X, it's IG, whether it's YouTube, whether it's farmersonly.com, whether it's Christian Mingle, you can find me at Big Mike Raider. Hey, and another thing, man, notable, the greatest number 13th pick overall in sports history was also Kobe Bryant. So, hey, I'm just saying maybe history repeats itself twice. I'm just being optimistic, though.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. But see, when I say that though, they're not gonna remember that. They're gonna be like, man, Pharaoh, you're just too negative, man. You and Severe just, you guys not making any sense. Brock Bowers is a great player. You know what I mean? And these guys, y'all probably didn't even watch Brock Bowers until we drafted him. Like y'all want, come on, man. Yeah. Like let's be honest here, man. But yeah, that being said, Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to. Let them know, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can find me in St. Louis smoking on dubs. Man, y'all know what it is, man. It's the Severe Raider on YouTube, the Severe Raider on X, the Severe Raider on IG, the Severe Raider on Snapchat, on TikTok, all that good stuff, man. Yeah, and I did confirm we do have voluntary minicamp the 3rd through the 6th, and then mandatory minicamp June 11th through the 13th, man. So looking forward to that. But yeah, man, just looking forward to this off season, man. Like I said, these guys are all Raiders, man. So even though we are critical of them, like people, I think people don't understand that. They're like, oh, you just hate just because I'm critical of somebody, like doesn't mean I don't want them to succeed. Like I want, ideally, Aiden O'Connell turns into Tom Brady, or he's the MVP, as I've seen some people say he's going to be an MVP this next year. Bro, ideally Brock Bowers is, a gold jacket guy. He's a Hall of Famer. But like Pharaoh alluded to, bro, I have to call it how I see it, because if I don't, then that's not fair to myself. First of all, I'm not being true to me, but then I'm not being true to y'all. And if this thing turns around and blows up in their face, like, why didn't anybody tell me? Like, I said something about it. So
hey, the dude with the red hat told you about it, bro.
Exactly, man. The dude with the hat everybody hates, man. And y'all know I wear this red hat because you guys say you hate it. Like, you guys tell me you hate this hat, so I wear it every single time just because of that.
Yeah.
And because red is my favorite color too, man. So that's my favorite color. I can't help it.
Yeah. Nah, hey, look, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Hey, look, at the end of the day, like, we understand, man. Off season is where our hopes and dreams are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We get super positive. I'm a Raider fan as well. I grew up a Raider fan, so I know what it is, man. Like, this is where we kind of we build up our expectations of the team. We start thinking playoffs, the division, and da-da-da-da. But that's happened so many times where now I know, like, all right, you know what? Yeah, this not gonna work, man. It's not gonna be good enough. But I will say I'm leaving room for me to be proven wrong. But there's, like I've said, the most important position on the football field is questionable. Luke Getsy is a question mark, and we could talk about the running game. Zamir White, first time starting, that's a question mark. Now, if you guys disagree with what I'm saying, let me know in the comment section, and you'll be featured on Comments of the Week, man. And we'll give you a voice, man. We'll speak to those comments. Let us know in the chat. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to like the thumb, clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. We appreciate everybody coming through. Yeah, man. Hey, we're gonna be back here next week. We'll be talking about the third week of OTAs. Most importantly, I think the next time we'll be going live after the Today Show will be, you already know, man, every Monday's 50-50 show. And obviously next week on Thursday, y'all see us. We might have a name by then. You know what I mean? Let us know, man. Let us know in the comment section. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section, most importantly, too, because then we'll be able to, find that comment and actually throw some of the names that you guys suggest as far as the name of the show that me, Severe, and Big Mike Raider are doing every week now. So let us know in the comment section. Just give us some ideas, man. I'm trying to, the final review, you know what I mean? We got the final review. Let us know, like, do y'all think the Nation's review, hey, let us know, man. Like we're trying to figure out some names for the show. It's a work in progress. We want it to be natural at the end of the day. I think Mike is writing some stuff down. He's trying to figure out some names right now as we speak.
Mike in the lab right now.
Shout out to Taino Raider with the Mark Davis's Pullout Kings.
Mark Davis's Pullout Kings was a suggestion we heard. Knights of the Round Table we seen. Shout out to them. We threw that in the hat as well. The Silver and Black Session. You know what I mean? Like we got. There's different names that we're playing around with, man. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, and then we're gonna narrow it down, and then just for fun, we'll just put it out, and then we'll see which names you guys like, and then we'll put that in consideration as far as making the final name for the show. But like I said, on the way out, clock out, hit the thumbs, like the thumb, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, man. Till next time, peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.